All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, what I like to do is go over the event agenda and what we're going to cover so that you all know what to expect. First, I'm going to give a brief welcome on myself on HBCU Connect in case this is your first event. Then I'm going to introduce our keynote speaker, who is Claudio Nascimento, General Manager there at CF Industries. Claudio is going to give you an overview of the company, as well as introduce himself, and you all get to know him better and his story. Then we have several folks that have graciously volunteered their time to share their experiences as well. So we're going to have meet the team so that you all can get a better idea of who are the folks that work at CF Industries, what they do, what are some of the opportunities, what are some of the stories behind the people that work there, and just get a better feel for the culture as well as the company. So you'll have that context, which will lead into a panel discussion. And in the panel discussion, I have prepared some questions on your behalf, sort of as an advocate for you all as potential employees or folks that will interview with the company, hopefully land a job with CF Industries. But I've set up some questions to ask the team to give us some background, to get to know the culture better, to get to know the company better. And then what I would like for you all to do is prepare your questions as well, because we are going to have a live Q&A. So in that live Q&A, you can actually, like I said, you can use the raise hand feature, and then I'll call on you to ask your questions where you can introduce yourself, ask a brief question, and then we'll direct those questions to our team of panelists from CF Industries. So we'll have about 30 minutes for the live Q&A, and then we'll come back and talk about next steps, and then I'll give the last word to our keynote speaker to close us out. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. And Louisa, yes, I did hit the record button, so we're all good. So welcome. Again, my name is Will Moss. I'm the CEO of HBCU Connect. If this is your first time joining us for one of our events, I'm super excited to have you. And if this is not your first time, I welcome you back to one of our events. And what we like to do at our events is get to know companies like CF Industries who are hiring excellent talent like yourself. They're looking for diverse talent. So what we did and what my team did is we reached out to folks like yourself to invite you to this event because CF Industries has relevant opportunities based on your background. So we want you to come to the event, to participate in the event, to introduce yourselves in the chat. If you haven't done so already, we're going to be monitoring the chat all night or all evening. So if you have questions, ask those questions in the chat. But what I would like for you to do is go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat, maybe your name, your background. If you are representing an HBCU, maybe what HBCU you attended. And then also I would encourage you to drop a link to your LinkedIn profile, because we will be saving the chat and sharing it with the CF Industries team after the event. Now, what is the opportunity for you here this evening? The opportunity is for you to learn more about CF Industries. And our hope is that you're excited, that you get your questions answered, you learn more about the team, and then you want to apply for opportunities with CF Industries. But this is your opportunity to also get to know the team and network with the team, maybe do some LinkedIn outreach as well. But we want to provide this opportunity for you for a career in the future. All right, so we also want you all to know that it is safe to be authentically you. That's why we want to have this live Q&A, allow you to ask questions, to introduce yourselves, but that is also part of the company culture at CF Industries. So with that being said, speaking of company culture, let's go ahead and introduce our keynote speaker, who is Claudio Nascimento, a general manager at CF Industries. So Claudio, if you'd like to go ahead and introduce yourself, I'll follow your lead.
Okay, thank you so much. Will, can everybody hear me okay still?
Yes.
I know that we tried a couple times, but it's always good to make sure that people can hear us. Well, my name is, like Will mentioned, my name is Claudio Nascimento, and I go by he or him. And I am a proud CF employee. Currently, I am the general manager for one of our numerous facilities that we have in North America and also at the UK. I am located in the Tulsa metropolitan area. being more precise, I'm here in Verteris, and I'm also the CF Industries Inclusion Resource Group executive sponsor. So I am deeply involved on most of the diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives for the company. As you guys can see from my accent, by now you guys notice that I am from the Deep South. And when I mean Deep South, I mean the real Deep South, not the South, but the real Deep South. I'm from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. So I am born and raised in Rio. I'm American now, but I am from Brazil. And yes, I am Black. I am identified as a Latinx. And for the ones that are going to be asked about what's X, Latinx mean, that doesn't mean any special power. That doesn't mean that I am the kind of the X-Men or X to the Z exhibit. I am Latino, but I don't speak Spanish by born. My country in Brazil, we were basically discovered and colonized by Portugal. So I speak Portuguese, although I also speak Spanish as I had opportunities to develop that and live in other places in the world, other places in the world. I am a metallurgical engineer. I have a master in business administration in industrial strategy and business management. And also I have a technical master science in metallurgical engineering and process simulation. And I almost completed my PhD. I did not complete it because I changed companies and my research was all connected with my previous company before I joined CF, which I do not regret for sure. So like I said, I'm basically responsible for the safe and reliable operation for our site. I've been with the company for 9 years now, and I had several experience internationally, working in different countries, different places. I worked for Praxair, where I started my career. I also worked for ThyssenKrupp, Gerdau, and others before moving to CF. I am a son, I am a father, I am a husband, I am a gamer. Yeah, I play video games. That's what I spend most of my time, playing video games and working out. I am a sneakerhead. I love shoes because I will tell a little bit later why I love shoes. I am a DJ and I used to play basketball. I was pretty good. You guys cannot see me too much on the small screen, but I'm 6'7", and I used to be much, much lighter when I was younger. And I'm very passionate about meeting new people and learn about new cultures. And before I move to the company, let me tell a little bit more about myself. So, like I said, I'm from Brazil. And Brazil was the last country in the world to emancipate the slaves. And what does it mean? Actually, the slavery was emancipated in Brazil in 1888. But took a long time to get everything solved there. Which means that my granddaddy that I met when I was a child, he was a slave. I don't know that it's too many people that here in US, but when I was a child, he was a slave. And I am the first generation of graduation in my whole family. And I'm happy, and I want to make sure that I talk about that, not because the graduation itself, because in my experience and believing in diversity, I believe that the experience that you have from the world, from the people that you interact with, what you learn when you're growing, what you learn when you develop yourself is much, much important than what you learn in the books. More important than learn the books, like my dad used to say, is how do I apply what you learn in the books. But the reason that I am proud to be the first gen of my family is that I'm proud to say that my daddy, both my daddy and my mom, they barely know how to write their names and to read basic words. My mom, she was a maid, so she used to work cleaning people's houses. And my dad, he was a labor construction helper. And they put a lot of efforts to make sure that that both me and my sisters, I have two sisters, both of us were able to proceed with the studies because they do believe that that would give us a little bit more support to compete with the world and to compensate the gaps that we'll have for not having this kind of experience when I was born, on my dad being participate on meetings, on my dad being this kind of thing. The other thing that's curiosity, my mom used to work on a house where the lady was English teacher. And that's how I start getting exposed to English and start learning English, because my mom and my dad, they were very poor, very, very poor. And I would not be here today. I would not have the great opportunity to represent CF Industries and tell you guys a little bit about us, about what we do, if it was not because of that. So that's a little bit about that. Another thing that I want to mention about that's this continuous evolution. Why I'm passionate about inclusion and diversity. I do believe that we are continuously evolving, continuously developing. And I do believe that that's important. And I do believe that the more different perspectives, the more different ways to approach things that come to us, they make us stronger, they make us more competitive, they make us more effective, they make the results come much, much more easy, and make the team works better. The continuous moving, something that always happened. And I made a promise to myself when I had the opportunity. My wife and I were together since high school. So she got pregnant when we were leaving high school. I didn't have a job. I didn't have a degree. Didn't have anything. But one thing marked me a lot was the first time that I did an ultrasound with my wife. I went to the doctor. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to expect. And I saw that little thing that I call thing, but now she's a big thing. She's my daughter. She also is graduated from Georgetown University. She has a master there, and she's going to the medical school now. But I saw that little thing. And when the doctor asked me, he asked me that, hey, Claudio, do you want to hear her heart? Or do you want to hear the heart? I didn't know that was a girl at the time. And she said, yeah, the heart, yeah, I want to hear the heart. And then I started hearing that sound quick, coming up real fast. And at that moment, it was the biggest emotion that I had in my life. And also at that moment, it sparked in me the passion to make the world different, to make the world better for her. Because at the pace of her heart, that was really fast, like a quick drum, it was the same thing that happened in the world, the same thing that happened. Everything moves too fast. Everything keeps continuously changing. Everything's progressing. Everything's evolving. And the other thing is that the speed that the things are happening now, they are going to be impacting the things that are going to happen in 20 plus years right now. So that heart that was beating up pretty quick on that little thing that looks like a little fish. My wife doesn't like me to tell fish, but looked like a fish. That heart that was beating up defined who she is now. And everything that we do on the moment that you get at work, at the moment that you start doing the things, on the ways that we put ourselves, on the way that we empower our team, on the way that we stimulate everybody works together, every little thing matters. Every little thing has a big impact in the future. So I want to make sure that we have an equal world to my wife, to my daughter, to my grandkids. I want to make it easier for them to be accessing the same information. I want them to have a fair world. I want them to have the opportunity. I want their life to be much easier than the one that I have. And that's why I'm really passionate with inclusive environment, about team building, about working as a group, and about making sure that we are all safe to be who we are every time, because that's what makes us stronger. So that's basically what I have to say about me. So let's now talk about CF and how CF fits on this role that I talked about, on feeling yourself and being safe to be yourself every time. So this is a picture of where I work from. And actually, right now I'm here on the top, let me see here. Yeah, on the top left corner on a little building that's on the other side on the parking lot. That's just a little bit to the left, please, Will, left. Low, the little building there. Yeah, I'm exactly here right now. I'm having this meeting here from here right now. And you guys can see how beautiful our site is. So that's a site located on the pretty close to Tulsa, like 15 minutes from Tulsa. And we have this plant here for 50 years. And it's a very nice view, and we make 2.3 million tons of product here every year for UAN, urea ammonium nitrate, plus 1.1 million tons of ammonia. I think Emmanuel is going to be covering these details with you guys. So let's go to the next one, please, Will. So who we are? Well, when you talk about CF Industries, I didn't have the curiosity before joining CF or before being approached by a headhunting. I didn't know about CF. So CF is a large company. We are the largest producer of ammonia, which is a critical product to the whole world. And we are involved on fertilizing industry. We involved on even on the clothes that we wear. We have a little bit of the CF Industries. We are involved on even the rockets that go to, all these missions to the space. They use a product that we make in Yazoo City. We are the only manufacturer of this specific product that goes with the rocket. And the most important, I think that another colleague will cover that, Christine, we are deeply involving on making sure to fuel the world with clean energy. That's an initiative that we have right now. So we're the largest ammonia manufacturer in the world. We make around, I think that we make close to 10 million tons. We just acquired a plant in Louisiana. Our largest complex is in Deville. And what differentiates us from everybody else is the flexibility that we have, our logistic team, our distribution capability, and we're going to have the opportunity to talk with Emmanuel, that the guy over our distribution team. He's going to be talking a little bit more about that, but our flexibility makes us possible to distribute our product to everywhere in the world. Everybody in the world receive a little bit of CF products. Last year, we shipped for more than 30 countries, but my family in Brazil, the food that they eat, the corn that they eat, everything that they have, there's a little bit of what we do in our great mission to feed the world. And that's one of the advantages that you have. And what makes the difference here is the team that you have. So our team has lots of experience. We have about almost 3,000 employees, 2,700 employees, and our culture of do it right, where we prioritize safety above all. And safety is not only physical safety, but also the psychological safety, like Will mentioned in the beginning, the safety to be yourself, safety to speak up, help us to be safe on the physical environment where we have one of the lowest incident rates in the world for the chemical plants, with 0.3 incidents per 200,000 labor hours. That's a reference in the world from what we do. Can you go for the next one, please, Will? So how the business work? So basically we have, simplifying that, I know that we have several engineers here, and I let that for you guys to Google. When you guys are going to apply for our company, you guys can have more details about that. But basically what we do, we use natural gas, and we separate natural gas, and we get hydrogen combined with air, and then we make ammonia. That's the simplistic view of what we do. And you guys feel more than welcome to reach me out later to do that. And by doing that, we do two very important missions that we have in the world. Everybody knows that the world population is growing up fast, right? As fast as my daughter's heart. And we would not be able to feed all these extra people that are being born and all the extra population if we did not have our product of what we do. Nitrogen is a main source of nutrient for the plants, and CF Industries, with our 10 million tons of ammonia, we play a big role on feeding the world, not only North America, but everywhere in the world, like I said. And also, we are doing lots of investments in technology, in new plants, evaluate new plants to produce green ammonia. And I will not steal your thunder, Christine. I will let you speak about that, but that's the clean fuel that's going to be power the world future sustainable. Next, please. So how do we do our mission? It's nice to talk about what we do, everything that we do, the product that we make, all the great things that we do, but how do we do that? It seems to be simple, but it is not. Take a lot of work, and we need lots of good people to help us to keep succeeding in our mission. So basically, our mission is to provide clean energy to feed and fuel the world sustainably. I'm sorry, my English is not my strength. I mentioned that to you guys before, but sustainably, that's a tough word to speak. So our values is basically everything that we do it right. So we put safety always first. Nothing is more important than safety. And we are major forces for inclusive culture where we treat each other with respect. Everybody has opportunity to express themselves in the company, and it takes serious everyone's opinion because everyone's opinion can make the difference, can make us stronger, and make us stronger every day. We do it well. We have a high efficiency, like I mentioned before. Our safety record is one of the best on the industry, and also our reliability, our own steam factor, our overall equipment effectiveness is really high because of everything that we do right here. The other thing that we have here as a reference for CF is that we execute as a team. We do believe that individuals can make the difference, but nothing is more important than a team. Everybody working for the same objective, everybody with different perspectives, with different backgrounds, with different experience, and working as a group toward the same goal. That's what makes us stronger. And we are courageous to be looking for this perspective, to be pursuing different perspectives, to be recruiting people that can make us stronger and bring in a different perspective to make sure that our decisions are sound and correct. And the other thing that's very important for CF, we take a long-term view. We are here not to make money this year and the next year everything's gone. We are here to keep successfully feeding and fueling the world for a long term. Next, please. So I talked about the values, I talked about our mission, but how do we do that? How can we be so successful? What makes us different than the competitors? What make me wake up every morning and come here smiling and have a good team and work together in order to feed and fuel the world? We do it right as a team. We work as a team. Focus on 3 core areas that you have. One of the key areas that we're working here is inclusion, diversity, and equity. So we work to make sure that we diversify our workforce, to make sure that we have different perspectives. We're making sure that we are representing the community that we are at. And we do believe that makes us stronger and more effective. We are very competitive on our benefits and engagement of our employees. Our employee engagement survey is one of the highest in the whole world for our industry. And also, we believe in professional training and development. Our company has several benefits. We have a program for sponsor graduation. We have several trainings that people can do. We are always looking for our continuous improvement. So I like to repeat this phrase here that's very important about what we do. Our efforts in each area are designed to empower our team and promote an inclusive culture. In other words, to do it right and to be our best, we need to be involving everybody. We need to empower our employees. It's not about working on, it's about what the legacy that they're going to be leaving. It's not about coming here and going home. It's about making sure that everybody is treated fairly, make sure that everybody has an opinion, make sure that everybody is passionate for what we do. Everybody's engaged in our mission to make our world and our company better. Next, please. So like I said, here in CF, we are safe to be ourselves. And when we talk about safety, everybody knows it's easy to say that safety comes first, but not only the physical safety, we talk about psychological safety. We talk about our inclusive culture and diverse culture, where we strive every day to be successful, to make sure that inclusion and diversity is a priority. It's something that we do serious and we take serious not because we are nice, only because we know the benefit. We want everybody to feel safe to bring ourselves to work every day. So we do that by embracing our differences and learn and respect people's perspectives. Everybody's unique. Excuse me. Everybody's unique. Everybody has something to bring. And we are here to make sure that you guys feel empowered, or everybody feel empowered to do their best, to be their best, to be ourselves. That's what makes us stronger every day. Okay? I think
Excellent.
that now we have another person, or do you have any questions for me? Don't make it too
Actually,
tough.
I would love to ask a couple of follow-up questions. So I'm curious, and I'm always curious when you have a professional that maybe did not get hired straight out of college to work at CF Industries, right? Or any company. What was it for you? Like, what was your path and your journey to CF Industries? And when it came time to join the team, what was it that helped you make your decision to join CF Industries?
That's an excellent question. That's an excellent question. So, like I said, as my family was very poor, I need to work since when I was younger to help my house and to feed that. So I always worked, and I started working as an hourly. I didn't have degrees. My wife got pregnant. As soon as we left high school, she's my sweetheart. We're still together now. Actually, we're going to be complete 25 years now together.
Congratulations.
I worked it, and I made sure that I want to make sure that I did not leave anything between myself and my objective, my dream, to be, moving up on everywhere that I work. That's how I work. So I went to college and started working. So I was working. And then after working, I did internship in ThyssenKrupp. Then I moved to Praxair. Praxair, they had a program that they call Engineering 2000 Generation. And now everybody knows that in 2001, I was graduated and I'm getting old. I hate that, but I am getting old. So anyway, I was on this program, went to the company, and then after that, I moved to another company. It's a Brazilian company. That name is Gerdau. It's a steel manufacturer. And this company, they had a program that was called International Executive Formation Program, where they prepared us to be working on any facility. This company is a large company. They have, I always say we, but they have 55 sites across the globe, and they were preparing a few employees. From the 65,000 employees, they selected 20 to be part of this program that are going to be prepared to be executives for the company in international locations. So I was blessed enough to be selected, and I worked hard enough to be selected. And on this program, they prepare you for being able to put yourself in different cultures, learn things about countries. They polish a little bit my English, because my English was developed. I went to class, but as being Brazilian, the exposure that I had to English was, the old school hip hop guys, Snoopy Dogg, Dr. Dre. And I cannot say everything that I heard from Strait of Compton, but that's what I learned. So they polished my English, and also polished my Spanish and all that. And then I was assigned to be working in a facility that I had in Beaumont, Texas. And in 2000, my final assignment was 2008. And there I started as a process engineer and moved up to be supervising and managing people until 2014, when I was approached by a recruiter to become a maintenance manager at CF. At that time, I was already a site manager for Gerdau. And I said, why am I going to be a maintenance manager? I manage maintenance managers. Why would I move to CF? I make a good salary. I like Texas. And they want me to go to Oklahoma. I have never been in Oklahoma before. They wanted me to move to Oklahoma to be a maintenance manager, serious. And then I said, okay, I'm going to be seeing that, see what it is. I talked with the headhunter and the recruiter, and she talked about the company. I started Googling CF, and I started seeing lots of good reviews. I saw that the company was growing. And then I interviewed with the site that I am, coincidentally, is the site that I am here right now. I am the executive for the site, but I was interviewing. I like the company, I like the culture, I like the people. It's okay. I'm going to be proceeding with the process. But when I got to corporate, was that I kind of realized that at CF we walk the talk. First, I could see lots of people that were just like me. And like me, let me separate in two things. I see lots of people that came from, that were experts on their business, and they were willing to join a company that was growing. They were willing to be part of something bigger. They were not too much longer in the company. They just joined or joined for a few years. And I was being interviewed not by like the mid-level people, but I was being interviewed. Everybody that wants to be a manager needs to be interviewed by the SLT, by the CEO, by the COO, by the senior HR or executive HR vice president, by the sales group, by everybody at the high level. And everybody had, like me, they came from another company, they were coming to the group. The other thing that I saw that really matters a lot to me, I saw a lot of diversity. So I saw people from different genders. I saw people from different colors, something that I didn't have the experience of my on my old company. You know, I saw people. I don't know how can I say that politely, but I was used to see when I get there, I was the only black guy in the meeting, or I was the only guy speaking funny, and I didn't feel so comfortable. But when I joined CF, the guy that was going to be the boss of my boss, he was dark skinned like me, or I could hear people speaking with accent. And they were happy. They were speaking by themselves. They had the freedom, and I felt very welcome to talk with people. When you see people like you, when you see this kind of environment, you feel comfortable to speak. You feel comfortable to make questions. And the interview didn't even seem like an interview. It seemed like a talk with somebody, with my daddy or my uncle or something like that. That was just like me. Same needs, same barriers. Things that we talk about. Oh yeah, that's something that need to do better. So it really captivated myself. I really felt attracted to join the company. And I'd say, okay, and that was a tough move to me because the company that I came from, remember, I'm from Rio. The company that I came from was a Brazilian company. I had a long tenure with the company, and I left that to join CF because of that. Wow. So that's what made me to join CF.
Awesome. Awesome. So I know we're going to have more time to speak with you during the panel discussion, but let me be the first to thank you for being our keynote, for taking the time out to prepare your presentation and share a bit more information about CF Industries. So to our candidates, if you have questions specific for Claudio, feel free to drop those questions in the chat. And then Claudio, if you can keep an eye on the chat for any questions you might be able to answer until we get to the panel discussion. So
all right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so next up, let's go ahead and jump into the team introductions. What I want to do is introduce each team member here from CF Industries, allow them to introduce themselves, talk a little bit about what they do, about their story and path to CF Industries, what they like most about working for the company. And that'll give you a little bit more context. So as your questions start formulating, you can get those questions ready for our panel discussion and live Q&A. So first up, let me introduce Christine Clark, who is Director of Clean Energy Solutions for CF Industries out of Northbrook, Illinois. So Christine, if you're ready.
Thanks, Will. I hope everybody can hear me. Please, somebody flag it if you can't, but I'm super excited to be here, and I really appreciated Claudio's introduction to the company and his story and background, and that was amazing. It was also, I really enjoyed reading everyone's backgrounds and everything in the chat. This is an amazing turnout. We're really, really excited about the potential to work together and bring you all onto the CF team. So I will provide some background on myself and background on what I do at the company. But please, as you have questions, feel free to drop them into the chat. And I can address them, or we can chat through them on the panel. So I am Christine. I grew up in Springfield, Missouri, which is kind of Southwest Missouri. And I went to school at the University of Oklahoma. And so for a long time, my world was very small, and has very much been small compared to Claudio's growing up in Brazil. But so I went to school at the University of Oklahoma, and I studied chemical engineering. And I loved what I studied in school. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I thought projects sounded fun. So I, after college, went to work for a large EPC company, engineering, procurement, and construction company in Kansas City. And I worked as a process engineer there. So I was doing design engineering for ammonia plants. So I was, sizing heat exchangers and sizing valves and drawing, doing engineering drawings and all the very technical, super fun engineering stuff. And so I worked there for about 7 years and got a lot of good experience. I spent a lot of time in plants, but also got a lot of exposure to kind of the business of the consulting engineering side of the world. But after I left that role to go work for an operating company, and I went to actually a gas utility, large utility company in Denver. And I held a number of roles there, got experience managing a team, and I was able to become involved in their decarbonization strategy. And that was really challenging, right? Because it's a, natural gas business. Decarbonizing a gas business is hard. The gas utility is a regulated business, and so a lot of challenges. But what I really learned that I loved about that role was I really, really liked working for an operating company. There's a lot of unique challenges in the strategic approach to business that I didn't appreciate when I was in a consulting role. And so there was this opportunity at CF for me to come spend, focus all of my time on decarbonization and clean energy, but also within this ammonia context that I had spent the beginning, 5 years of my career really focusing on ammonia plants. And so it was really interesting opportunity for me to take on this role that was totally a stretch for me at the time. And I really, really loved it. I love my job. So I'm really excited to be able to share whatever I can today about my work here at CF and about the company. Let's see, before we go on, so I work in our headquarters office, which is north of Chicago. So we are in Northbrook. It shows there on the slide. And I moved here with my family from Denver. And so I have small children, 4 and 2, and my husband, we got it all picked up and moved into Chicago. And that's been a big change, but it's been a really great move. And we're really loving it and also loving the company. So, Will, if you can go to the next slide, I will talk about kind of our clean energy strategy. And before I talk about my role at CF, I'd really like to kind of introduce the strategy of the company. And then I'll talk a little bit more specifically about what I do. So Claudio mentioned we're the world's largest producer of ammonia, and ammonia is largely used today to feed crops and to grow food as we provide fertilizer for the world. But ammonia production is very emissions intensive. And so it takes a lot of energy, a lot of natural gas to produce ammonia today. And as it is so important to our economy, it's emissions intensive. We have really centered decarbonization and clean energy at the core to our company's strategy. And so you'll see our mission statement here on this slide that we provide clean energy to feed and fuel the world sustainably. And I'll talk more about the fuel piece in a little bit, but I think Claudio said earlier, we really at CF, we walk the walk. And what I have observed since coming to CF is our leadership team and our company is really all in on this mission. And that's, as I sit in this team, it is really apparent that we are making large investments to decarbonize our business. And this is really core to our long-term strategy. You can go to the next slide. And so these are some of our strategic priorities. I'm not going to go through them one by one, but we are executing our strategy, our clean energy strategy, by decarbonizing our existing network, and And that means installing CCS, carbon capture and storage equipment at our existing facilities. It means some green hydrogen projects. So instead of producing hydrogen from natural gas, we're installing electrolyzers, and we actually have the North America's largest green ammonia plant will start up at our Louisiana location in a few months. And many, many other decarbonization opportunities, right? So we're doing a lot to decarbonize our base business, but we're also looking at opportunities to expand the use cases for our products. And specifically, and I think I saw somebody in the chat asked earlier about the potential for ammonia as a fuel or ammonia for energy. And so we're really excited about a number of initiatives and projects that we have going, which will provide ammonia for fuel, specifically in these early kind of demand stimulation. Early demand is going to be in Asia for co-firing ammonia with coal for power generation. And so we'll actually be burning ammonia as a fuel for power generation, as it is an alternative to hydrogen, if you all are familiar with that. But there's also many other demand opportunities for ammonia itself as a fuel, low carbon ammonia as a fuel. And so it's exciting because we have a number of projects, a lot of great things that are happening at our sites. And you all have seen the job opportunities that can work directly with these types of projects to decarbonize our network. And we're looking at opportunities to bring those products to the market. And so it's very exciting time at CF. I will maybe just briefly touch on my role in this. So I really focus on the strategy and commercial aspects of decarbonizing our network. And so that means our ammonia plants in North America. What can we do to reduce the emissions associated with those plants? And I'll give maybe two examples. The first is a large CCS project that we're installing in Louisiana. And we're working with ExxonMobil. They will transport and store that CO2 underground for us. And so that partnership is something I've spent a lot of time on in my time here at CF. And also maybe renewable energy procurement associated with our green hydrogen project and the commercial aspects of that. So I really started my career in a really technical engineering kind of world. And I spend my time now in a lot of commercial discussions, business strategy, and it's really exciting especially the ammonia industry has, really gone kind of full circle here. And so there's a lot of growth potential, and it's a great time to be in the ammonia business, but especially be in CF. We're positioned very well. So I will pause there, Will, if you have any questions, or we can save them for the panel.
I got two questions for you. Just to follow up sort of on yourself and your team. What are some of the backgrounds of folks that are on your team, some of your team members? What are some of the backgrounds that they have from a skills or education perspective? Like the types of people that you work with on your team?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have, I would say, both technical people on our team with technical backgrounds, like engineers like me. We also have people that grew up in the finance world, right? So totally on the finance side of the house. So in our group and on our team, we have this variability in background, but I think there's a common thread, which is, everyone really thinks strategically and is able to see the kind of broader business strategy, and that's really helpful on our team.
Okay, so my second question is a little bit more personal. So for you personally, what is it that you like most about working at CF Industries?
So what I like most about working at CF, I love the work I get to do every day. I care a lot about I personally care a lot about the work that we're doing and being able to spend my time doing work that I'm passionate about and decarbonizing what is a very important business, but also very emissions intensive. And so I love the content of my job, but equally, I think that our company culture is very strong, and not just that people really get along, right? That I think our leadership team really sets a strong culture of collaboration, of challenging each other, of respect, and that really flows down through the organization. I see it in within the senior leadership team, how they treat each other, and also what they value, and that flows down through the organization. And so I think it's really inherent in the work we do and what we expect of each other. The culture makes us collaborate very well.
Excellent. So I see we're starting to get some questions in the chat for Claudio. But Christine, let me thank you as well for being a part of our panel, for sharing a little bit more about your background, but then also would love to have you join us again once we get to the panel discussion.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Christine. To our candidates that are here with us, if you have questions for Claudio, if you have questions for Christine, feel free to drop those questions in the chat, but then you'll also have the opportunity to ask your questions during our live Q&A with the panel. All right, so next up, let's go ahead and introduce our next speaker, who is Roberto Cruz, Plant Operations Management Process Engineering out of Woodward, Oklahoma. So Roberto, if you're ready.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. At least afternoon for me, or evening, almost evening. Like Will said, my name is Roberto Cruz. I'm currently the ammonia plant superintendent in the smallest site among CF, which is in Woodward, Oklahoma. For those of you that know a little bit about Oklahoma, I am near the Panhandle, so in the middle of nowhere. Claudio he's in Tulsa, so he's enjoying the city life in the Verdigris plant. So we are about 3 hours and a half, if you want to count driving distance by hours. I have been in this site for 10 years, almost 10 years. But before we get there, I'm gonna talk to you about where I came from. I came from Puerto Rico. It's a small island in the Caribbean. I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. I studied mechanical engineering in the University of Puerto Rico. And I believe I graduated. Yeah, I graduated in 2011. While I was in college, I remember being able to study for my professional engineer license, well, the engineering training license, while I was sitting at the beach taking a suntan. It doesn't look like I have a suntan anymore. Obviously, I don't live in Puerto Rico anymore, but good times there. I'm the when I was in Puerto Rico, working studying in college, I was hired by DuPont during my senior year, and it was to go for the field engineering program. So I was supposed to be with DuPont to rotate to different locations, and the first rotation for me was in North Carolina, in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and I spent there about 3 years. And the person that is going to talk to you after me, which is Emmanuel, I worked with him while we were in DuPont. And in 2013, I got married and to my wife and my current wife and only wife. We have been married for 10 years. So in 2013, we got married. And about 6 months in the relationship, I told her, I just want to see what's out there and see how much they pay out there. And a month later, I started getting interviews, and I was fixing to accept a job with another company in Augusta, Georgia. And Emmanuel called me. At that time, Emmanuel was already with CF. And he called me, "Hey, Roberto, we're looking for process engineers in CF Industries. And I said, well, I'm actually going with this company, but I will give it a shot. I went to Oklahoma for the interview, and it was a dark day. It was a day, but it was dark. There was a tornado warning, typical in Oklahoma, and I drove through it through the rain, nothing major. And then after a while, everything got clear. You can see the sun again. It was beautiful, but for someone that is not used to that weather, it was definitely something different. Anyways, I went through the process, and I like the company. What they offer was great. CF is a great, has great benefits overall. So I decided to move to CF Industries in 2014. Uh, to make the story short, I started as a process engineer in the ammonia plant. I was able to progress and move up to senior engineer. I also work in the maintenance department as a planner supervisor. And then after that, the position for ammonia plant superintendent became available. And that's what I'm doing now. So as in this role, I'm responsible for the safe operation and shipping of ammonia. I'm also responsible for the utilities of the site, also responsible for the environmental stewardship of the plant, of the ammonia plant. Uh, Currently, my some of the skills that I need in my team, for the most part, are leadership skills. I manage right now we're a group of 47 that I'm responsible for. Uh, the this group, we have operators. 40 of them are operators. The other 7 are just supervisors that are responsible for the group and the plant. So a lot of leadership skills. From the engineering side, which we do a lot of process simulation, a lot of heat exchanger calculations, efficiencies, compressor efficiencies. We work day to day with valve, level transmitters. Uh, it's things that you have learned in school, I mean, in the college, or something that you can learn as you go. But something that I like to tell people is once you get a degree, what matters after that is your attitude towards work, how you can fit in a culture. We like people that are can show or demonstrate that they will stand up for safety. They will be the ones that are going to be leaders for establishing programs to help us grow and the continuous improvement of the site. Like Claudio mentioned, we have a culture of continuous improvement, and that's true. We do that, and that's one of my favorite things about working for CF Industries. In addition to the people, I've been here, like I said, it's gonna be almost 10 years now with the site. That's not common anymore. And it's because the people is great, the job is great, and CF, like I mentioned, has great benefits, and they have a lot of opportunities for their employees to grow and develop. In addition to that, 2 years ago, I was able to get my master degree in business administration, and that's one of the benefits of CF. You know, I got that paid by CF. So that's another thing there, that one of the perks of working for a company like CF. Will, that's all I got.
So I got a couple of follow-up questions for you. You
All
mentioned that
right.
your background is in mechanical engineering, correct?
Yes.
So what are some of the backgrounds for the people that you work with? Because a lot of people, when they think process engineers, they think chemical engineering background, right? But what are
Yeah.
some of the engineering backgrounds that you've seen there at CF Engineering?
We in the engineering group, we have electrical engineers, we have mechanical engineers, chemical engineers. It's more common to see chemicals in the engineers in the process side, but we also have options like me, people like me that like the process, and you can be mechanical engineer and be a process engineer. the science in this business is not that complex. There's some complex problems,
Mhm.
but the chemistry itself is not that complex. The Haber-Bosch chemistry is there, and everyone, for the most part, can find that online. Uh, Also, in my team, I have, like it was mentioned before, I have people that had a finance degree working in the training side. I
Mhm.
have people with no degree at all from high school that were able to develop and grow and get there. But for the most part, we have engineers from all areas. As a matter of fact, we are looking in the Woodward site. If you're interested and you want to apply, we're looking for process engineers. You can go to the CF website and apply for a job. If you are interested in the smallest site in Woodward, we have 4 positions available. We have process engineer, project engineer, maintenance manager, and we also have, I believe, a safety specialist position open.
Okay, so you just queued up my next question perfectly. So from all the way from the island of Puerto Rico to North Carolina to now in Oklahoma, if you were recruiting someone to Oklahoma, what would your pitch be if they were to relocate? What are some of the things that you like about the area that you might want to share?
Yeah, I normally I'm honest with the people. This is a remote place. It's
Mhm.
far from the big cities.
Mhm.
It's definitely remote, but it's a great place to have a family. It's a great place to if you like fishing, if you're into hunting, those are activities that happen here all the time. Uh, if you like the quietness, this is a good place for that. Also, we have some activities for the most part in the summertime. There is a lot to do here. Um, that's my pitch. It's a hard pitch because it's honestly remote, but it's a the for the site itself, great people. I mean, I've been here 10 years from Puerto Rico. That
Mhm.
tells you a
Mhm.
lot of the people
Mhm.
here.
That's what I was getting ready to ask you. When it came time for you to make that decision, what was the number one thing that kind of put you over the top to join CF Industries?
Originally, it was money. I'm honest with you, it was just the benefits. I told my wife, I remember telling my wife, just work there. We will work there for 5 years only.
Uh-huh. Yep.
And then we'll move to another place, another city.
Uh-huh.
And it's been 10 years almost here.
Uh-huh.
So that tells you how it's been good so far.
Awesome. That's exactly what we want to know. So Roberto, let me thank you for being one of our panelists. And for our candidates, if you have questions specifically for Roberto, for Christine, for Claudio, go ahead and drop those in the chat. But let me go ahead and introduce our final panelist, who is Emmanuel Welder Rufael. So Emmanuel is the general manager of distribution facilities out of Northbrook, Illinois. So Emmanuel, if you're ready.
All right. Thank you, Will. Thank you for HBCU for giving us this opportunity to talk about the CF, about us, and just maybe a quick introduction about myself. So my last name could be mouthful. Emmanuel Wilder-Rafael, General Manager for the Distribution Facilities Group. I'll show you a map shortly where we're located, but the leadership team for the distribution facilities team is located here at the headquarters in Northbrook. Usually, if this was a live audience, I usually ask people just to brush off on their geography if they've ever heard of a country named Eritrea. It's a very small country. But this been a virtual audience. I'll tell you what it is. It's in East Africa by the Red Sea. So I was born and raised there, and then at the end of my high school, I moved to Texas. And hey, I see somebody from Kenya in the chat. So yeah, I moved to Austin, Texas, to Houston first, and then for school, I went to the University of Texas in Austin. Got my bachelor's degree in chemical engineering there. Once I got out of school, I got recruited by DuPont, to Roberto's earlier comment. And I worked with DuPont about 10 plus years. And I was in this leadership rotational program where I started out as a process engineer. for the first 2 years, but the latter 8 years was all in the leadership, different leadership positions of starting from first line supervisor to continuous improvement manager to area manager to unit manager. And then when I was in North Carolina, a recruiter reached out to me, a very persistent recruiter. So because I think 3 or 4 times I didn't answer, but glad she was persistent. And then when she first reached out and asked me about if I'm interested in coming to CF Industries, I've never heard of the company. I said, what are you talking about? Who? And I got my, my 10-year, my 15-year plan mapped out and all of that with my career path. But the recruiter was very transparent and said, hey, just come check it out and, come to the headquarters for discussion. And then I came in to Claudia's earlier comment, came into the headquarters for an interview. Not only did did the discussion with the senior leaders, not only just to get visibility of the company's strategy. I was blown away on how much valuable they see the recruits and the people that they brought, and then when I went and visited the plant, I was very impressed how welcoming it was. Granted, Woodward, Oklahoma is in the middle of nowhere to Roberto's point, but I was blown away by the people and how approachable and how welcoming they were. So I was sold and then joined the CF team there. So almost 10 and a half years ago. And then after 4.5 to 5 years in Woodward, I moved to the headquarters here and to lead the distribution team. So when I was in Woodward, I was the production manager, responsible for the 2 units there, plus the 80 to 90 people that were on those units. And if you can go to the next page, I could talk a little bit about my current role at the distribution facilities. And I'll show you a map of kind of where they are located, but just to give you a little vision of what we do, and to store and to receive and store, ship products safely. And we have a lot of remote locations, 23 terminals across US and Canada. This 190 people that work in my group are scattered all over the place. So the challenge is remote management and making sure that people have the support that they need, and make sure that you got the resources that needed to operate the site safely. Different technologies on how they get the products with the pipeline, barge, rail, and track handling operations, and lots of product move through those sites. And then the next page will show you kind of the map of, and I think Bose, Kirsten, and and Claudia talked about how much product gets made in our manufacturing sites, and how does a distribution network come and play. Those manufacturing sites you see in bold run 24/7. And but if you crop applications and where most of our product goes is seasonal. So you have a spring season, you have a fall season. So in between, where do you do with the product that gets made? And that's where all this green dots that you see, those are our distribution network, distribution facilities where the product goes in those off seasons. And they're in close proximity and mostly in the Midwest, where the farmers are. 80+, 90+% of our product goes to the farming community. So that's where all our product is. You see a line in light blue there with the pipeline. About half of our sites get served with the pipeline, but the other half and majority of them have multiple modes, whether they use trucks, rails, or barges, and so with that we'll make sure that we're flexible, and that's one of the advantage we have as a company is how flexible we are. You see an arrow coming out of one of our sites and our biggest site to international shipments to where we could balance our product mix. So this gives us a competitive advantage. And then, with that, and maybe you ask a question, how do engineers come and play? Maybe the next couple of pictures in the next few pages will show you that. So we have our operations team in the field, maybe operators that come through the ranks, but a lot of our engineering, maintenance, support staff have some sort of technical or engineering background. Lots of chemical engineers, mechanical engineers for projects, and I even have a marine engineer that helps out with the barge maintenance and barge work and things like that. Let me see. And then, on these pictures that you see, I just wanted to throw in some pictures, kind of what it looks like to live in the field. So those are kind of some of our shipping channels within our sites. About a third of them have a river access with the barges. And then again, to Claudia's earlier comment around how flexible our sites are, having multiple modes when the river's frozen, being able to have rail facilities to be able to move product. When there is a rail strike, being able to have a pipeline to make sure that sites are supported and being able to move product to the right sites. So those flexibilities gives us a competitive advantage to make sure that we're staying safe and we're staying afloat when the customers ask for our product. And then the last slide I throw in is not only are we good citizens from a product stewardship standpoint and making sure that our product remains in a pipe, we're keeping our not only our employees but our neighborhood safe. We also are good contributors to our local communities. So I mentioned about the 23 distribution facilities, but also our 9 manufacturing sites. In each of our sites, we are a big contributor to our local communities, whether it's giving out mini grants, whether it's supporting STEM programs. That's what makes me proud to be part of CF. How we take care of our communities, how we take care of the kids in our neighborhoods, and to make sure that we're contributing in the well-being of people. So with that, Wills, I don't know if I missed anything, but
I've got
all the remarks I have.
so I've got one question for you before we jump into and I'm going to stop sharing here. Before we jump into our panel discussion, for you personally, what is it that you like most about working at CF Industries?
For me, I think I mentioned some of them on my remarks there, ability to, so I worked at a large company, almost like bureaucratic from a change perspective. For here, everybody is empowered to follow their passion and do what they're called for to do. So Claudio talked about the IRG program that he sponsors. He and I also have sponsor a technical conference for the whole company that we were both passionate about, where we saw elsewhere, and we brought it in. And our senior leadership was very supportive of it. It's in its 5th year. We just had a meeting about it the other day about this year's event. Every year it continues to grow. So everybody that brings their passion to different things have a place, and that's what makes me appreciate what CF does and why I love working here.
Excellent. Excellent. So, Emmanuel, let me thank you for being one of our panelists, and to our other panelists from CF Industries. Let's go ahead and start our panel discussion. So, to our candidates, the way this is going to work, I'm going to prioritize your questions over mine because we've got about a little more than 15 minutes left. So, if you have questions, go ahead and get those ready. And then if you'd like to ask a question, you can go ahead and turn your video on. This is a live and interactive event. But if you have a question, just use the raise hand feature within Zoom under reactions. So there's an option in Zoom called reactions. You click on that, and then you can click to raise your hand, and then I will call on you to ask your questions. But I have some questions that I prepared to ask the panelists to get things started, kick things off. So let's circle back to Claudio with the first question for the panel, and that is, Claudio, how easy or difficult is it to move around within CF Industries? So I know you came into the company in one position, but now you're in a totally different position. So if you could speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, that's a great question, Will. And actually, since I joined, I work on 2 different other positions and in 2 different states. So I started my career as a maintenance manager for the vertical side here in Tulsa metropolitan area. I was promoted as the interim executive general manager for the site. Then I was promoted again to Mississippi, Yazoo City, Mississippi, as the general manager there. And 3 years ago, I got back here as the general manager, the permanent general manager for this site. Regarding your question, I think that if that's something that you have ambition to, and you have the right profile and the right performance, it's very easy to move between one side to the other. We have several openings. Our company is expanding. You guys can Google that and see several different announcements that we're doing about new partnerships that might lead us to build up new plants. I'm posting a lot our link on the chat. I'm sorry if I'm typing something wrong. Like I said, I'm not very good on English. But you guys can see different opportunities. So it's pretty easy and pretty exciting to have this different perspective on different business areas in the company. So it's pretty easy to do that. There are several openings, and we incentive people to do that to understand better how our business works.
Thank you, Claudio. So I see a couple of hands raised so far. So Nelson, I see your hand is raised. If you'd like to come off of mute, and I'm going to ask that you keep your questions as brief as possible and to the point. If you'd like to introduce yourself and ask your questions. So go ahead, Nelson.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nelson Gonzalez. I'm from Venezuela. I reside in the United States for 9 years already. My question is really simple. Is the company able to help with relocation?
Appreciate the question.
HR, or I can jump on that.
Yeah, I'm happy. Yeah, to respond to that. The quick answer is yes. We're more than happy to help with relocation for these roles.
Love quick questions, and I love quick answers. That'll allow us to get as many questions answered as possible. And when you're asking your question, think about the other folks that are on the call as well. So I'm going to follow up with the next question. So Frank, I see you have your hand up. Would you like to introduce yourself and ask your question?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Frank Rankajay, and my question is basically for everyone. So what would you say are the most challenging aspects of the job, and what skill sets would you say is needed currently at this time?
Excellent. I was getting ready to circle back to Christine with my next question. So Christine, if you'd like to talk about maybe some of the challenges that you have.
So in my role, I'd say the biggest challenges were, you know, trying to develop new markets that don't exist today. And so that can be very ambiguous. And so what may be, you know, a priority 1 week or 1 month may very quickly deprioritize and we're on to something else. And so what we really have to be able to do is make sure that you can work effectively in a kind of open-ended setting with open-ended goals and kind of find your way. I also really love that about my job. So it is a challenge, but it is a part I really like as well. And so yeah, that's my feedback. I think everybody else has probably different challenges here.
So the second part of Frank's question was around the skill sets needed. But just out of curiosity, Frank, what is your background?
Hello again. So my background would be in engineering, basically mechanical engineering. So the question was for everybody, but particularly Roberto, I think you're a mechanical engineer like myself. So generally for everyone, is there any skill set in particular, whether technical or not or non-technical, needed at this time?
Awesome.
All right. Frank, for me, I will say most of the technical part of it, we normally you can learn it at the work, at the job. But for the most part, calculations for efficiency, knowledge of rotating equipment is also helpful. That's one of the biggest things we have. Things that have experience with combustion, that's really great, especially with our initiative and efforts to reduce NOx emissions and in general. Those are good things to have, that type of knowledge. Also, we do a lot of inspections, so API certifications like the API 510, API 570, those type of certifications are a plus. Definitely will get will be a highlight on your resume, or it will put you in front of the door versus other candidates. But for the most part, like I mentioned before, it's more about interpersonal skills, those soft skills that you don't necessarily go to school for, that you need to be able to communicate, you need to be able to talk in front of people clearly. And what I mean clearly, obviously I have an accent. Claudio mentioned he has an accent, but the message needs to get to everyone, from the CEO to the operator that came straight from high school. We have to be able to communicate with them, set clear expectations, hold people accountable to what we say we're gonna do. So that type of leadership skills are needed. Be able to not be afraid to speak up to people, which a lot of engineers somehow they are scared to talk to people, and that's our life. We need to talk to people. Some operators, some of the things that I've seen is operators come to the job and they are scared to talk to the operators. I mean, it's intimidating. I'm gonna admit, you have 10 operators looking at you with, and you're by yourself and you want to ask a question. That could be intimidating, but that's part of the things that we need to develop. Be able to ask them questions, be able to spend time with them, establish relationships. Those are the skills that at the end will help you get to the further in your career.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for the question. Okay, so we've got about 9 hands raised and we've got about 9 minutes. So let's try to do rapid fire with the questions and with the answers. So next up is Gordon Brett. So Gordon, if you'd like to ask your question.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. So I have 2 questions real quick. Most people on the call said that they were process engineers first and they moved up through the company. I was wondering what kind of facilities in place for people who are not like from the oil and gas industry who might want to transition. And also, I'm curious to know how collaboration is between sites sounds like there is a very good team dynamic in each individual sites. I'm wondering if like best practices from one site translates.
And just for context, what is your background?
I'm a mechanical engineer
Okay.
in operations and maintenance.
Awesome.
I can jump on the first part of the question, then you guys can fill up the rest. I'm a metallurgical engineer. I start my background with mechanical integrity, designing pressure vessels, inspection. I didn't know too much about process, and I was able to move from my career. Like Roberto mentioned, the technical piece, we can train you guys. We can give you the tools to do modeling, to model process. We can pay for you guys to go and have your certification. I think that the most important thing is have the right skills and the will to learn, being humble, and be willing to develop. I was fast.
Awesome. Christine, did you want to add?
Well, I was going to say two things. One, our CEO is an electrical engineer, so like very different than a process engineer, right? And then the second thing I will say, and I do not work in manufacturing, but I've observed this 2 years now, and I think it's amazing. So we have, I think somebody mentioned the technical conference. One thing that's super unique about CF is we have this amazing network of plants with incredible reliability and safety records, and all of that knowledge sharing is prioritized in the manufacturing organization. And so there's a technical conference that we share internally. There's best practice teams that across the manufacturing network. So I think that's something that's incredibly unique about CF and our network. So bragging on you guys in manufacturing.
Yeah, for example, I'm part of the best practice team for the ammonia plant. So anything on the ammonia production side. So anything on the production side, including most of us are engineers for the most part in that group. And we discuss issues and opportunities for improvement. And if we're struggling in a site and we don't know why, we have that network that we can go ahead, send an email to that group and get different answers from them. So definitely a lot of collaboration and sharing, knowledge sharing among the sites.
Excellent. Okay, so another quick question. David Hill, if you'd like to ask your question.
Yeah, good evening. David Hill. My background is in engineering, electrical engineering, and information technology. I've spent my whole career as a project manager. Just want to know, are there opportunities in project management at CF?
Definitely. And actually, I'm hiring for electrical engineer. So if you go on the link that we have here on the chat, we have an opening here for a project manager and for electrical engineer. And definitely we do have openings, and we do need people with your expertise in our group.
Yeah, we'll also send out that link after the event via email. So thank you for the question.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was just going to add. Yeah, I was going to add the same thing. I mean, I think each group, each manufacturing site has, my group has. So project engineers and project managers are very, you know, we pretty much, most of us have one or two, more than one, each of our functions.
Excellent. Yinka, I see you have your hand up. If you'd like to go ahead and ask your question.
Hello from Los Angeles. The background in educational and chemistry, career-wise, modeling, regression analysis, quality assurance. Would somebody like me be on the ops side or manufacturing side? Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Yes.
You have a background on data analysis and all that you said? I'm sorry.
Yes. Data analysis. Yes. Regression modeling.
You can work on both. One of the things that I show in our values that all the decisions that you make, they are based on data. So you can work on finance or market developing by doing market analysis and some regression. And I'm a Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt too, so I love that. Or you can work on the plant doing predictive analysis for equipment failure or for process data, trying to optimizing based on regressions and previous data. So you can work on both sides.
Love it.
Yeah, we have on our sustainability group, we have people that have data as their background, and then we also have our process safety management manager for our corporate EHS. He's actually has a master's in statistics. So yeah, so we have several of those.
Excellent. Appreciate everyone trying to keep the questions succinct and to the point because we got a few more hands up. So, Takayla, if you'd like to ask your question. Takayla Grant, if you'd like to ask a question. I'm not sure if you're having technical difficulties, but I'll come back to you. Saidi, if you'd like to go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah. My question is, I have two questions. Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I have two questions. My first question is regarding research in CF. So is the research within the company, and also do the company also liaise with maybe universities to perform research? Because I know ammonia is something that is a little bit complex, and when you look at research that has been done in this area, so does the company goes into like collaborating with universities? Then my second question is, I was just observing some of the financial CF, and then I noticed that during COVID time, the revenue reduced, but I think in 2022, it spiked. There was a lot of increase, and what kind of plan was done, or what kind of decision was made that makes the revenue of the company to increase drastically like that?
That's a good question.
I can
Well,
take that. I can
okay.
take that. Yeah, Claudia, you can chime in. So in 2022, a lot of the geopolitical environment that happened, if you recall from that time, whether it's the Ukraine, Russia conflict, or any of those different things that were happening, most of those were tailwinds for us. So that means, may not have been something that we've done, but North American operations were premium at that point with the energy issues in Europe and other parts of the world. So when you have that, and when you have a higher price of ammonia, urea ammonium nitrate, the products that we make, even though they're commodities in the U.S., premium price at that point. So that's what you see, the high revenues at that time. But even if you take out 2022 overall, even if you look at our numbers from last year, still very positive. Maybe not as high as it was in 2022, but very bright future for the company because of where we sit. Majority of our production is in North America, where the natural gas price is very attractive, and that bodes well for our product mix.
Excellent. I think the other part of the question was around how you all might partner with universities as it relates to product development with the ammonia.
So we do have a technical director center of technology that used to be on my old facility in Yazoo City, Mississippi, where we do have this kind of a partnership on not only on developing products, but also on there's some potential performance improvement in our side. So we do have that, and it's led by our Department of Technical Service in Jackson, Mississippi.
Excellent. So with respect for time, I know we have about 4 more hands raised, but I want to respect everyone's time. So I'm going to ask that you send the questions to me or just reply back to the email that we're going to send you after the event, and then I'll send those over to the CF Industries team to follow up with you. But let me jump back into the slides for our presentation, because we want to talk about next steps and then give Claudio the last word before we close out. But I encourage you also to keep your video on. I like to get a snapshot of your smiling faces before we close things out. So let's talk about next steps. So the purpose of this event is not only to have you learn more about CF Industries, what they do, the opportunity they provide, but we want folks to get hired. So if you enjoyed what you've learned this evening, please take the next step. Check out the open opportunities on CF Industries website and apply for the roles. And then after you apply for the roles, feel free to follow up with myself or my team. But also I would encourage you to network with the CF Industries team via LinkedIn as well. But you have to take that first step and apply for the opportunity. So we're going to email you the actual link. Louisa, if you'd like to drop the links in the chat as well, please do so, at any moment. And then if you have questions, so for some of you that still have your hands up and you had some questions, there's a special email address that you can use to follow up, and that's talentacquisition@cfindustries.com. We'll also email that information to you as well. And then also follow CF Industries on social media. So there's a QR code for LinkedIn, QR code for Facebook, but we'll send those links to you as well. And then we'll also ask that you complete our post-event survey and hopefully help us continue to do events like this by giving us your feedback and let us know what we can do better. Let us know what you enjoyed, what you got out of the event. So we really appreciate your feedback. But with that being said, let me give Claudio the last word. And again, if you guys want to turn on your video, we'll get a snapshot of your smiling faces. So Claudio, I'll give it to you for any words of encouragement for our candidates to continue or pursue careers with CF Industries.
Okay, thanks so much, Will. Guys, it was excellent, this interaction with you guys. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be share a little bit more about what we do, about how our company is and how do we approach the diverse perspectives that we have. I hope that we have encouraged you guys to join our team. Like Will said, we have our website where you can find the openings that you have. Take a look, see how do you think that you fit better. And I want to assure you guys that you're going to be making the right decision, and you're not going to regret to join our team. If you want to feel engaged, if you want to feel empowered to put your perspective and be heard and be part of a group and be part of a team, please come and join CF Industries. You guys are going to be more than welcome. So thanks so much. I appreciate
Awesome.
that.
So Claudio, thanks again for being our keynote. To our panelists from CF Industries, thanks again for joining the panel discussion. So now, before we go, I love to get a screenshot of everyone's smiling face. And I apologize for those of you that could not get your questions in, but again, you can email me the questions or email them to talentacquisition@CF Industries, and I'm sure they will be glad to hear from you. So if you'd like to turn your camera on, let's get a screenshot so that we can remember this event. Give you guys a couple seconds to turn your cameras on, and then we'll go ahead and hit the say cheese button. Again, and thank you all. Appreciate you all for coming. Let's go ahead and get this screenshot. Louisa, are you ready?
Yes.
All right. So 1, 2, 3, cheese. All right. We appreciate you all for coming. Thank you. And again, you got to follow up, apply for the opportunities. And after you've applied, feel free to follow up with my team, whichever recruiter reached out to you from my team, or follow up with talent acquisition at CF Industries. And I want to hear about some of you all getting hired. So thanks again to everyone involved. Appreciate it, and have a good evening. Take care.
Bye.
Pretty good.
Thank you.